General.
You still owe me an explanation for what happened in Calibrock. Who was Raith? And what does she have to do with the death of your family?
And here I was hoping you'd forgotten about it. Fine. I promised you the truth, didn't I? I can tell you, but it's not exactly an uplifting story. Also, I imagine you have better things to do.
If you don't want to tell me, that's fine.
No, that's not it. I'm just not used to it. Sorry. Come, let's talk somewhere else. Somewhere with less people around. Well then, you've heard about the Bloodburn, haven't you?
Yes.
Good. Then you know it only affected people who weren't magically gifted. I already told you in La that my family, my wife, and my boy died from the Bloodburn. What you don't know, though, is that I could have prevented it. I thought Raith was responsible, but she was right. I'm to blame. To make it short, when the Bloodburn first surfaced, I refused to see it for what it really was. When the rest of our village fled, I forced my family to stay. And when it hit a week later, it happened fast. I didn't notice because I'm a mage and it didn't affect me. But when I got back home from the laboratory, my wife, Jerobi, and my son, Atros, greeted me at the doorstep. Their eyes swollen and their foreheads burning with fever.
What were they like? Atros and Jerobi?
Different than me. Atros was only 7 when he died, but he took after Jerobi. Good-hearted and optimistic. I never understood how she did it. She had been through hell, and yet she didn't let it bring her down. I still don't understand what she saw in a pessimist like me.
I understand her. You're intelligent and you're kind.
What makes you think I'm kind?
I don't know. It's just something about you. You're distant and withdrawn, but I can tell.
If you say so.
Why didn't you flee with the others?
Well, what I told Jerobi was that the rumors were superstitious nonsense. A plague that spreads through a song in the wind. Nonsense.
Only that wasn't the full truth.
Mostly I ignored it because I was too absorbed with myself. All I cared about was my work. My experiments. I was on the verge of a breakthrough, and had I abandoned the laboratory, they would have failed. So I rationalized the danger, and stayed. I spent the next fortnight watching them die. And there was nothing I could do. All my life I'd spent studying the nature of life and death. Yet they withered away right before my eyes.
Huh. And that's when you broke ties with the realm.
Oh, I didn't break ties. I just ran. To tell you the truth, I don't even remember. It was all blurry. Fragments. I must have spent at least a moon in my home, drinking myself to oblivion. When I finally came to my senses, I was lying in an abandoned fisherman's hut somewhere in the swamps, covered in dirt and bug bites.
That must have been just weeks before you met Tahar, right?
Yes. Have you ever lost someone, General? Someone who was the world to you?
Yes.
Then maybe you know how it feels. That kind of pain. It never goes away. Every day it's like I'm walking through this fog. And while I know I'm alone, I can still see their silhouettes up ahead, reminding me of what once was, and what could have been if I hadn't murdered them. Raith was also an intelligence scholar, and we worked together in the laboratory. Just a few weeks before I came here, I found out that she'd been to a village the Bloodburn had infested long before it came to ours. So I shifted the blame onto her. Had she told me how dangerous the Bloodburn was, I would have fled with the others, I told myself. It was nonsense, of course, and she was right. I ignored the warning signs even when they became so evident that she left. And all because I was too arrogant to abandon my research. I killed them.
I know we hardly know each other, but still. If you ever need someone to talk to, I'm here.
Thank you. But I never saw the point of talking. What does it change? I guess if there really is a silver lining to everything, then mine is that their death made me realize something. Ultimately, we're on our own. As long as you make your purpose for living something outside of your control, you're doomed to lose it all eventually. I'll never make that mistake again. Anyway, I've been rambling on for too long. I hope I satisfied your curiosity, General. I will see you on the next mission. Ah, Erev. Do you have a second? There's something I wanted to talk about.
Sure. What is it?
I'll tell you, but not here. Come. All right, this is better.
So, what is it?
Well, ever since we met, I had the feeling that you took an unusual interest in my personality. Also, you said some things. Compliments. Ambiguous statements. Why?
Because I like you.
So I was right. I don't quite know how to say this, but you've also been on my mind a lot, Erev. There's just something about you that I feel drawn to. And it doesn't have to do with the fact that you're a beautiful woman. You're hope.
Thank you. Why didn't you tell me earlier, though?
Good question. At first I thought it was because of Atros and Jerobi. Because telling you of my affection would have felt like betraying their memory. Now I've come to realize that it was also something else. Remember how I told you that some sinners don't deserve absolution?
I do.
Well, I've reconsidered. Absolution exists, but we need to earn it. Wallowing in your misery and self-loathing won't help anyone. Not the dead and not the living.
Huh. Does that mean you've forgiven yourself for what happened to your family?
Forgiven? No, not yet. But maybe I will, one day. I was arrogant, self-absorbed, and put my work above everything else. And that cost Atros and Jerobi their lives. But from here on in, I'll be better. Every day, I'll be more of the man who, had he existed back then, wouldn't have let the Bloodburn take his family. This is how I can atone. See, Erev, the reason I'm telling you this is that I wouldn't be here without you. You've inspired me, probably without even realizing it.
Inspired you? How?
Simply because you kept going. You made a terrible mistake in Imperia, but you didn't give up on yourself. That's what you represent to me. The knowledge that we can overcome. It might not seem like much to a person who has never been through what we have, being responsible for such suffering. But I admire it. I admire you. The question is, do you want to give this a chance? Us. We could be a new beginning for one another. A new chapter.
How?
By overcoming our vices. If you acted out of arrogance, be selfless. If you were greedy, be generous. I know it sounds trite, but it's the only way to remotely make up for what you did.
How do you imagine this? Us?
I don't know. I guess I just want you near. As an ally, for whatever life throws at us next. What about you?
Can't you guess?
I can, but I'd rather hear you say it.
I'd like that. A lot.
Thank you. It means something to me. You have no idea how much.
Awake already?
Oh, Erev. Yes, I couldn't sleep.
How come?
Oh, nothing. Too many thoughts racing through my head. You know that feeling?
I do.
I thought so. I get it a lot. These nights where I lay awake staring at the ceiling, that slight fear in my stomach. Oh well, let's not go into it. But please don't get me wrong. The kiss, your warmth, it meant something to me. A lot.
Well, then you have something to look forward to.
I'm a lucky man. We should probably get back to the wolf chamber. The others will be wondering where we are.
They can wait a little longer.
How very persuasive. You should have become a diplomat.
How are you feeling?
Good. Better than I felt for a long time. And that's in no small part thanks to you. How about you?
Couldn't be better.
I'm glad to hear that.
Are you free tonight? I'd like to spend some time together.
You mean... Oh, yes, sure. What did you have in mind?
You seem surprised.
Oh, no, it's just... It's been a while since somebody asked me that. I'm still getting used to it.
Let's head into the city. I could do with some dance and music.
All right, as long as you don't expect me to participate. Oh, hello, Erev. Forgive me, I was thinking.
About the upcoming battle?
Not just that. Erev, there's something I need to ask you. All this... us. Do you still want it?
Yes, I do. Don't you?
Of course I do. I love you, Erev. You're a wonderful woman, a great leader, a good person. Why choose me? What is it that you see in me?
I love you. It's that simple. That's what I see in you.
You could have dozens of men, Erev. Good men, honest men, who didn't betray the ones who trusted them most.
Raith, how often do I have to say this? You didn't betray Atros and Jerobi. You made a mistake.
Okay.
I don't understand, Raith. Where is this coming from all of a sudden?
I had a dream. It was about Atros and Jerobi.
What did you see?
I was back at our house in the village. They were both still alive, and Jerobi had prepared dinner for the three of us. It was so... lively, so vivid. We talked, we laughed, and it was beautiful. Then, all of a sudden, the floor disappeared.
It disappeared?
Yes. Instead, we were all sitting atop an ocean of blood. And while I, for some reason, just floated, Atros and Jerobi sank. They sank and sank. And with every inch that their bodies submerged, they withered, rotted. They screamed for help. And all I would have needed to do was reach out for them and pull them to me, to safety. But I didn't. I just stood there and watched. Can you believe it, Erev? I just stood there and watched as their silhouettes sunk down into that sea. The last thing I remember before waking up was looking at my hands and seeing that they were glowing and melting off. Like my flesh had somehow turned into wax made of pure light.
What do you think that dream is trying to tell you?
Well, I've been racking my brains over that question the entire day. It might just be a resurfacing of my guilt. Or maybe simply my family's last goodbye now that I've... well...
Come to terms with their deaths?
Accepted it. And accepted that I want to continue living, despite it all. Claws of Nor, I'm sorry, Erev. This surely isn't what you need the last night before the big battle. As I said, you deserve someone better than me. I'm just a burden.
Look, I'm here for you when you need me. It's that simple, okay?
Well, I think more brooding is the last thing I need right now. Say, Erev, would you like to spend the night with me? Just go down into the city, find ourselves an inn, and forget about all this?
I think I'd like that.
Guardians. Raith, what did you do? You opened the gate.
I did. I suppose I owe you an explanation, don't I? Frankly, it was the only reason I joined this mission in the first place. And why I brought up the Jade Staff as a catalyst for the ritual.
So you gave her the location of the temple, didn't you? That's how they got here before us.
Right after the boy told us. Yes. And I promised to finish the job if you should manage to beat the Crescent. Which you did.
I trusted you, Raith. I loved you.
I know.
I know? That's it?
Nothing I say will change what I did. And nothing I say will make it better.
Did you ever really love me?
No, Aerith, you misunderstand. I tried. I wanted to, with all my heart. And I never lied in what I said about you. I do admire you in every respect. I suppose what it comes down to is that I don't know. That I thought we could be each other's new beginnings. A new page in a rotten book. But I was fooling myself. Atros and Jerobi. They were always there in the back of my mind. Every moment we spent together. I can see them now. There. In the light.